All right, good evening. We are looking at finishing chapter one and chapter two today. As we discussed yesterday, we're starting from we're starting from looking at organizational data, which we briefly um went through yesterday. Where we talk about traditional data, we talk about transactional data, intellectual property, and your financial data. How you protect it, how it's so important it is, and looking as much as it is important to you is also as much as it is important to the hackers as well. Right. So the hackers are gaining having access to your money by gaining access to your data. But having said that, we looked at Internet of Things and big data yesterday, where we talk about the cybersecurity cube and CIA triad. That was yesterday. But today we are looking at what is called um, what was taken. We have a scenario in which um, we look at past events in the cybersecurity, cyber attacks in which some very, very important information were taken from some organizations. One of the scenarios we have here, but not limited to this, we have other scenarios. But we're looking at scenario like an hotel that has a massive data breach. Now let's look at this case study. According to our sources, a well-known hotel chain that operates across the world has reported a massive data breach with the personal information of over 3 million guests exposed to hackers. The hotel discovered that hackers gained access to its customer database by using the login details of one of its employees. At this point, the hotel doesn't believe that the hackers were able to access any account passwords or financial information. Recent guests are encouraged to check the hotel chain's web portal to see if they have been impacted by this breach. Now, what does this mean? Let's look at this exercise. In this example, what did the hackers take? Okay, what did they take? Now, we need to select the correct answer. The names, email address, and phone numbers of over 3 million hotel guests. Did they take the card payment? Of course not. The username and password of all the hotel's employees? No. They gained access to it with just one of the hotel employees' login details. They did not take the hotel chain's reputation. So what the hackers took was the names, emails, address, and phone numbers of over 3 million hotel guests. Now, let's look at this scenario again. This other scenario. An e-learning platform at risk. Now, this e-learning platform is concerned is concerned. E-learning platforms are becoming prime target for attackers as more and more organizations make the move to digital learning. Now, let's select the correct answer here. Now, what exploits did the hackers use in this case to gain access to valuable personal information? Now, we look at the case study. A popular online training platform admitted leaving the personal data of millions of its students, many of them minors, exposed on a publicly accessible cloud database. Hackers were able to direct access students' full names, email address, and all that from the internet. Okay, while it's unclear that the hackers have done with this acquired information, it's safe to say that they have everything they need to carry out widespread phishing or malware attack. Now, what exploits? What exploit did the hackers use in the case? Now, the exploit they use is the weakness in the platform security breach. All right, we're just scrolling through. Then I've advised you to go through your portal and do this on your own, write it and then submit. Now, you'll find out more. So, we are gradually winding up um winding up chapter one. Okay. Um, okay. So let's look at what we refer to as cyber attackers. Who are cyber attackers? As simple as the name is, these are people that attack our cyber activities, our online and offline activities. Those are attackers, and we refer to them as hackers. Okay, we refer to them as hackers. Okay, so let's go on. Now, attackers are individuals or groups who attempt to exploit vulnerability for personal or financial gains. We have three types of attackers. Is either we call them script kiddies. Now, these are the amateurs. The other type of attackers is what we know as hackers. And we have three types of hackers: the white hat hackers, the grey hat hackers, and the black hat hackers. Under the black hat hackers, we have those who do that ethically. That's with the consent of the owner or the person they're trying to test its vulnerability. That is the white hat attacker. That's what the white attacker does with the content. Then attacker is in between. They set out to find vulnerabilities in a system, but they will only report their findings to their owners. Okay, then the black hat hackers, they are those that are doing it for unethical purpose, for personal gains. Then we have the organized hackers. The organized hackers are those like those we know as activists, cyber criminals, those that are professional that are engaged professionally for that purpose. Okay, so these are three types of hackers and the three types of attackers and three types of hackers. Okay, so I advise you to go through this exercise as well. What color is my heart? For example, after hacking into ATM system remotely using a laptop, this attacker worked with the ATM manufacturers to resolve the identified security vulnerabilities. Now, is it a gray hat hacker or black hat hacker or white hat? You agree with me that this kind of um, attack is a gray hat hacker because after checking the vulnerability, report the case to the owner of the ATM and let them know that look, there's a vulnerability here. But if the person does it without reporting, then it become an unethical and become a black hat hacker. But all the same, because it was not authorized to do that, then he is not a white hat hacker. Now, this attacker, this is the second one now. This attacker transferred $10 million into their bank account using customer account and PIN credentials gathered from recordings. Is this white hat, gray hat, or black hat? Of course, this is black hat. Now, look at this. This attacker's job is to identify weakness in the company's computer system. So he's licensed and authorized to do it. Then what do we call that? Of course, that's a white hat attacker. Then I allow you to do, okay, fine, let's finish it. The attacker used malware to compromise the company system and steal credit card information that was then sold to the highest bidder. That is a black hat. While carrying out some research, this attacker stumbled across a security vulnerability on an organization's network that they are authorized to access. That is white hat. You submit. So that's right. We got it all correct. So you can do that on your own. Then we discussed it in the previous video. You can check into the cybersecurity one. All right. We talk about internal and external threat. Without internal threat, the external threat will hardly succeed. It's difficult for the external threats to succeed. So internal threats are those within, while the external threats are those that are outside the organization. Okay, let's move on because we have to finish this and go to chapter 2 and finish chapter 2 today as well. Looking at this, what is cyber warfare? As its name suggests, is the use of technology to penetrate and attack another nation's computer systems and networks in an effort to cause damage or disrupt services such as shutting down a power grid. That's cyber warfare. So cyber warfare is a kind of cyber attack between between a nation and another nation. We have what we refer to as Stuxnet. Stuxnet. Stuxnet is a malicious code that is designed to attack an organization, but mostly infrastructures are always the target, like the power grid, the water system, telecommunication system. You hear news like a power, I mean, a telecommunication cable under the Red Sea is being cut off. These are examples of cyber warfare, and that is what we refer to as Stuxnet. Then this purpose of cyber warfare, of course, is to gain recognition and to gain international organizations can engage in cyber warfare and to actually have 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 superiority over another nation. That's the purpose of cyber warfare. Okay, so I'll leave you with the quiz. This is the final quiz to do under this chapter. Then you submit. So now let's quickly go to chapter 2. Under chapter 2, we're analyzing cyber attack. Right. We briefly discussed about this in the previous video where we talk about types of malware. Okay. Now, when we talk about malware, it's not every attack we have on our virus that is on our system or our file that is called virus. This attack on our files and systems is generally referred to as malware. What is malware? Malware is simply malicious softwares. Malicious softwares are code that are injected into our programs to make them behave wrongly, to make them behave negatively against the purpose that which they are designed to do. Now let's look at this. Spyware is that kind of malware that is injected into your system to spy your online activities, your offline activities. That's a spyware. Like they look at what you do, your login details, your keyboard, uh, most often pressed keys, and getting information. That is spyware. Adware, these are malware gotten from malicious adverts that you don't subscribe for. Then we talk about backdoor. Backdoor are rootkits that is created to affect our software after we have designed it. Then I mean, an attacker somewhere create a kind of system on our software that we didn't bargain for and making our program to misbehave. That's backdoor. Ransomware is a kind of malware that is designed to encrypt or encode our files or our data in the sense that we don't have access to them and making us and demanding for money from us before we can have access to them. And we have things like scareware. These are malicious software that are sent to us to to scare us, to tell us that this thing is has, or if you don't do this, this is what is going to happen to your system. Then we have rootkit. Rootkit is work hand in hand with what we call backdoor. Rootkit is malicious software that is designed after we have designed our program to make our program to work negatively. Then we have virus. Virus is the kind of malicious software that is attached to our executable files, like installation softwares, or maybe you are buying cracked software. They come with viruses. That's why sometimes you have to put off your firewall for before you be able to before you be able to install some cracked software. Then Trojan horse. Trojan horse is has a very ancient history in the sense that this is like a battle between two nations or two cities, but they gave them a kind of um uh horse design like a gift. Whereas inside that horse there are armies and weapons to fight this city. So you have some some things that look like gifts on your system, on your software. By the time you press them, you have downloaded malware into your system. Worms are replicate are malicious software that can replicate itself. Unlike virus that work with host programs, this work with files and have similar patterns and they share similar patterns. All right. Symptoms of malware, that is when your system start misbehaving, hanging, just go off, or your gadgets, your device is not behaving as it's supposed to be. Then you know that something is wrong somewhere. Okay, so now what do you think? Now let's match all this. Malware designed to track your phone, online, your online activity and capture your data is known as what? That is spyware. Okay. Software that automatically delivers advertisement is hardware. Malware that holds a computer system captive until a payment is done is ransomware. Malicious code that attaches to legitimate programs and usually spreads by USB drives, optical media, and network, that is virus. Then malicious code that replicates itself independently is known as worms. So that's correct. Now let's go on. Like I said, I want us to finish chapter 2 today as well. So we have methods of infiltration. We have social engineering. Like I said in the previous video, social engineering is like that kind of attack that has to do with human being, like pretexting, telling you that they are calling from your bank and all that, tailgating, trying to peep and look at the PIN number on your ATM card or on your phone. Now, something for something that is requesting for this, give me this, and I give you that. You think it's for free. Now, we have what we call denial of service. I want you to get this very well. We have denial of service and we have distributed denial of service. Denial of service is a situation whereby a system or network is being attacked and the rightful user of this network were actually denied or not allowed to have access to the network. That is denial of service. In the case where we have distributed denial of service, that is a network of robots have been designed in form of malicious codes that is sending engaging messages. Like you just open a portal, nothing is happening, but just to discover that the server is down. That is an example of denial of service attack. Like I said earlier, distributed denial of service, that is we have different form of uh, uh, um, network of robots, malicious codes. We call them botnet. Okay, we call them botnet. We have on-part attacks as well. The man in the middle attack and the man in the mobile form of attack. And we have SEO poisoning. SEO is search engine optimization. When the name of your organization online is, for example, www.telltale.com, for example, telltale.com. Now, someone is trying to search Telltale Nigeria Limited and you can see tell_tale.com. So in that case, your SEO have been poisoned. So that is why you see some organizations, they try to register as many names as possible online so that it will be difficult for that SEO to be poisoned. That's an example of SEO poison. Wi-Fi password crack, we are all used to this. It happens most time, but we have tools and software that is being used to crack passwords. By the time we get there, we get to know more of that. Password attacks. It's called password attacks. Okay, now we have persistent threats where a kind of a particular form of kind of attack is persisting in order to gain access. So where are we now? Security vulnerability and exploits. We have hardware vulnerability. In a case where some hardware have been compromised or have not been configured rightly, priority have not been put in order, in that case, such hardware might be compromised. When we're talking about hardware, we're not just talking about laptops or PCs alone. You have your networking devices like your your router, your switches, and the rest of them, your interconnectivity devices. So by the time these hardwares have been compromised, and we have what is called hardware vulnerability. We also have software vulnerability. That is, your software have been compromised and is vulnerable to attack. It can be attacked at any time. So what do? We try as much as possible to test our configuration to make sure they're in order before we connect to the network or before we connect other user to our network. We try and test our software, and we update it from time to time. We buy the original licensed softwares, licensed OEMs. We don't just go for we don't just go for we go we don't just go for crack software and the rest of that. So we have software updates. Update your softwares from time to time. Okay. Cybersecurity landscape. We have cryptocurrency. Is not new again. We have what is cryptocurrency, and as time goes on, we'll be going to cryptography. Now, cryptocurrency is the kind of digital currency, digital money that's that's use form of coding to operate. When this happens, then this is going to happen. When this happens, this happens. That is cryptocurrency. That is how cryptocurrency works. But in that case, cryptocurrency is being attacked. Okay, cryptocurrency is being attacked by what we call um, cryptojacking. That is, the cryptocurrency environment have been hijacked. That's cryptojacking. So it can happen that even the person that the platform that the details is being hijacked does not even know. So that is cryptojacking. Then what next after that is you have your quiz for chapter 2, and I think that will be the end of chapter 2. So when next we meet, we'll be talking about chapter 3. God help us, by the grace of God. We're going to meet on Saturday, I guess. We'll talk about chapter 3. But if you have any question, and you can kindly reach out to me. But I want you to watch the video on Stuxnet, on Stuxnet, and get to know more about what you, what you understand by Stuxnet, and talking about cyber warfare. It's very, very, very important as a cyber security professional, and try and make findings and research on on try and make research on nations cyber warfare that happened, especially in the Middle East some time ago, where we have Stuxnet, and if it has ever happened in your country before or in Africa as a whole. So thank you. If you have any question, you can please send to me. I'll be glad to answer you.